So the basics for doing merino wool dreadlocks are exactly the same thing. It's just there are different ways that you can choose to do them. Basically what you're going to need is your wool. It's just virgin wool. It's actually really soft. It's really light. It dries pretty quickly. They're really light. They don't itch. It's really easy to get used to. I've only had them in a couple of days, and I'm already kind of over the sleeping awkwardness, and I even went for a run with them today and it wasn't too heavy. So yeah, you'll need your merino wool. This is just a little bit of leftover right now in my hair. I have about 200 grams. It's not exactly what I wanted. I ordered my color online, and I was hoping to do like these browns on the bottom and lighter blonde on the top. The oyster color that I ordered was actually almost white, and I ordered a mint color and it actually came out to be almost purple. So if you can find merino wool in a store somewhere physically near you, I'd recommend doing that. Otherwise you can get it online, just colors aren't exactly as they show up. So I had actually the two colors that I wanted, the blonder colors. I ordered 200 grams of each of those, and 100 gram of sienna, which is this lighter brown, and of this one, which is chocolate. So in my hair right now, I'm just shy of 200 grams. I would have liked to have them a little bit longer. I'll show you why after. Yeah, so we'll get started. What I did is, and you don't have to cut it, you can tear it. It tears actually quite easily if you just want to pull it apart. Don't try to do a bunch. Take a small strip and then just tug at it, and you can choose your sections that way. Personally, I just found it a lot faster to cut all of it right at the beginning. That way, A, I know it's all the same length. B, it's almost like doing food prep when it's already, you can just kind of grab and go. It's just a lot more practical. So I cut mine. You don't have to cut yours. You can tear it. It's really however you like to do. What we're going to do is put it in water. Well, you don't have to put it in water. You want to get it wet. Again, I found it easiest. This little pot, you don't need very much. It's probably about half full. There's just simple dish soap, nothing special. I don't even have the label on it anymore. And some water. You don't want to use too much. You don't want it to get all bubbly and foamy and stuff while you're working with it, but you do want it to, it'll make a huge difference if you don't have any soap. You'll notice it right away. So I've seen a few people that either have their sink full and they just let their merino wool hang out in there and take it out of there as you need it. I don't like doing that. Actually, I shouldn't say that. I didn't try doing that. Maybe you'll like doing it. I prefer one piece at a time. And I've also seen spray bottles. I found that A, my spray bottle was a piece of crap and it kept not working. B, the water cooled down really quickly, and hot water does make a difference. So I should just keep mine on the burner at like the lowest temperatures possible, and I actually turn it off half the time as well, because otherwise the water gets a bit too hot and you can't really handle it. So yeah, basically just choose however thick you want your dreadlocks. I don't have mine very thick at all. I actually chose to have mine quite thin, and I think I probably have about 40 double-ended dreadlocks. You can do double-ended or single-ended. I'll explain the difference. So I have about 40 double-ended ones, which makes it look like about 80. So you can only see like every second one will have been braided in. So this was the length that I had. Again, I would have liked it a little bit longer, but I only had 200 grams, so I basically had to make it go as far as possible. And in doing so, found a little trick. Again, you don't have to do this, but what I've been doing, especially since when, like say this is how long I cut it, once you get it hot in the hot water, everybody knows wool shrinks, so your dreads aren't actually going to be as long as you choose. So cut them a little bit longer than you're anticipating them to be, because they will shrink. But I've actually been taking them in the middle, folding them out, or pulling them apart I should say, and shuffling them, so just line them up but not perfectly. So to actually add a couple of extra inches, they'll taper off a little bit more, so you don't just have like a blunt end. However, if you do that, make sure that when you get them wet, they're not separate, because they'll stay separate. So you want to make sure they're like as together as they can be. Get this part wet first, then work around it. So right now I still have my burner on. I've got a little bit of soap in my water. You're just going to get it wet, and as soon as you have it, I'm going to turn it off already actually, because it's quite hot. You do want your water to be as hot as you can handle, not so hot that you're going to burn yourself, but hot enough to activate the fibers. And so yeah, you will notice that the water level will go down, obviously. Just make sure that when you add more water, you also add a little bit more soap, otherwise the locks will not hold and they will just be a huge pain in your butt. So get them wet. You don't need a lot of water. Actually, it's going to slow you down, so squeeze out as much as you can without burning yourself. Remember that the water is hot, and if you squeeze it, you are going to burn your hand. Squeeze as much as you can. Pull her back out, and then you're just going to roll it. So you can see already you'll feel a difference right away. And people worry too about washing your hair when you have, well, both real and synthetic dreads. I washed mine just yesterday, and I know you can try to keep them dry and just wash your roots, but I actually went out and I was in a smoky room and they just smelled like smoke, so I wanted to wash them as well. I didn't have any problems. Just when you're drying them, squeeze them out 50 million times over and over again, and when you think you have all of the water out, squeeze them out again, and then leave a towel on your head for a while and literally squeeze them out in your towel as well. And then I did go to bed with them wet, but they weren't very wet anymore, and I just fanned them out on my pillow so that they wouldn't get that, you know, when you leave wet clothes in wherever and they just get that musky smell. That's what you want to avoid, so that's why I want to try to get them dry. I'm sure you could try to use a blow dryer. I didn't bother. So yeah, you're just going to keep rolling them like this. Make sure that they're soaping your water stays hot. If you want to use a spray bottle, you're more than welcome to go ahead and do that. Keep doing that all the way for the dread until you can't. This one's actually a little bit thin. I would use a bit of a thicker piece, but you're going to want to do it until you can't pull it apart anymore. Like you can still see here. Here you can kind of tug it apart. You don't want to be able to do that. Whereas here already, well, it's already really thin, but you can't pull it apart. And you'll feel a difference like here where it's already gotten quite a bit drier. When you roll it, it does not hold its shape at all. So just get it wet again as many times as you need to, and keep doing it until your dread is done. Each one should just take you a couple of minutes. So I'm going to finish this one, and I actually have quite a few loose hairs. I was really stupid and basically decided to do them as fast as I could before I went out. So there are a lot of loose hairs around. But I will finish this dread, and then I will show you how to braid them in. Also, before I do so, this would be a single or a double-ended, so you can see once it's done. I'll wait until it's done and show you. Okay. Okay, so ideally you would hang this to dry. I am being impatient so I can get this video over with. It's one, I'm not too worried about it, it's still a bit wet. I'm going to put it in anyways, just to show you how. So like I was saying, you could do single-ended or double-ended. This is a double-ended, so I'm actually going to have it, it'll be folded in half. This is twice as long as it's actually going to be. And you're actually going to only braid one side in, and the other side will just be kind of left loose. I've got a bunch of mine that I did way too loose, but it's honestly, I did it for a costume party and I don't know how long it's staying in, so I wasn't really too particular. When you're putting them in, you're going to want to section off your hair, just pin it up, and do squares that are about maybe like just smaller than an inch by an inch. Depends on how thick your hair is, right? Like I've got pretty fine hair, so I could have gotten away with more actually. And you can either just kind of section them off and keep it all the same, or you can kind of make it look like a brick, you know, so they don't line up perfectly. You can do that. I'll give you a little spin so you can see kind of what I have. Yeah, so again, I would have liked mine a little bit longer. Instead of putting this ponytail in, you could just take it and tie it in a knot, and I think that's absolutely adorable, but again, I didn't have quite enough. So that's a double-ended. A single-ended is when you actually make a little loop out of it, and you just get some yarn or an elastic or something and attach it there. An elastic. I'm going to get an elastic. These are the elastics that you're going to want, just these little clear plastic things to attach at the bottom. So yeah, I'll just find my loose hair. With a double-ended, you're going to want to split your hair. You're making, basically this is going to count as one strand for your braid, so you're going to split it in two first. If you have a single-ended, you're actually going to loop your hair through the hole and then split it in two and then start braiding. But since I don't have single-endeds, I have double-ended. I will show you this way. So I've got my teeny tiny bit of hair. Normally you're going to want more hair than this. I'm just taking advantage of my gross leftovers to show you what I did. So you're going to take your double-ended merino lock in the middle of your two strands. I'm just going to lay it over this way, and then you're actually going to cross your strands right across the wool, really tight as you can without hurting yourself. and then you're just going to start braiding. So again, this is way smaller than what you will be working with, but it'll just get rid of some of my loose hairs and give me a little bit more dreads. I'll actually probably take a few out and add these in. So you're just going to braid all the way down. My hair is completely fried at the end, so it's really uneven for me to tie it. Hopefully yours is a bit healthier and you won't have the same problem at the end. I'll show you what I'm talking about in a sec. There you can already see, like, this one is already done and this one's long, so I'm actually just going to take them together, split them in half so that I have almost even size, and keep braiding. Just a simple little quick fix if your hair is in rough shape like mine. Okay, so my full head, I guess I should say, probably took me about 2 hours to do, but again, it was a very, very, very rushed job. Alright, so there's my braid. You can see it all the way down there. I've got the ends just finished. I'm going to take the ends, wrap them around the lock so that I don't have this little ugly fried mess. And then take your clear elastic and just finish it off. Super simple. So yeah, pretty simple, pretty straightforward. You can buy the dreadlocks already made if you just want to install them yourself, and I know there are some people that will even install them for you. Honestly, I'd say it's too expensive to do that way. It depends. You can either put your time into it or your money into it. It's whatever you feel like doing. But they are super light. They're really soft. I got used to them a lot faster than I was expecting to. I was actually worried, I know when you put braids into your hair, or even maybe other synthetic dreads, you might get a headache just from them being so tight and pulling and all the extra weight. With these I didn't have a headache or anything right after. Yeah, I'm used to them. They're not even a week old yet. They're really messy already though, but that again is just me being lazy. If you have any questions, comments, help, anything at all, just let me know. Leave it in the comments below.